up in Cedar Glen in Lake Arrowhead, basically, and then I decided to move back here. I went down to Murrieta and I lived in LA for a while, and then I just was like, you know what, I want to be back home. So I moved back here 6 years ago, and that's after I graduated from Musicians Institute in Hollywood, and I did the drum program, and then I taught and I did some touring and recording and just did a whole lot of playing. And I basically realized that I like playing, but my thing is recording. I really like recording. And so that's led me to like playing guitar a little bit and getting all these fun percussion instruments. And recently I just got this beautiful djembe, which I've already taken to a campfire, and, thumbs up from everyone on that one. So, yeah. Yeah, so I've been playing most of my life. Hand drumming I'm mostly a drum set player, but I play, if you put a drum in front of me, I'll hit it, I'll play it. And I'll do my best to show you guys the different ways to hit this drum, the different ways to play, some different grooves. So that way, because the first adult drumming class that we did, most people had a djembe. I think actually everyone else besides me had a djembe at the time. I was trying to get this drum and I just didn't get it in time. But anyways, everyone had a djembe, and everyone was wondering, how do I get to a point where I don't feel uncomfortable in a drum circle situation? When that happens, or when you're at the beach, or when you're at a campfire, or your friends come over, or whatever, and there's some music going on, how do you not feel uncomfortable and awkward, and how do you fit into the groove that's going on? So we're going to talk about that, and how to feel the pulse of the music, and how to count along, and how to play some basic grooves that'll get you by on pretty much any song. Or, well, there's only a few different feels for music, really. So you can use a few of these grooves, and they'll give you a lot of mileage on that. So we'll talk about that. Yeah. So, and then I also wanted to talk a little bit about why we're doing this, right? We're doing this because it's fun and we have a drum or whatever, and we want to learn a little bit, but there's more to it than that. So I wanted to talk about some of the benefits of drumming. Let me pull up my document here. Sorry, just a second. So we all know that music is beneficial on its own, right? Like just listening to music, and most music has rhythm. I mean, almost all music has rhythm, right? Music is basically rhythm and melody. But almost all music also has drumming or drums in there. There's almost always something in there, like a drum set or hand drums or shaker or tambourine. Almost always in almost all music you listen to. It's just because it feels good. It helps the song move along, gives it a nice beat to maybe dance to or move your body to. So music alone is beneficial, but drumming itself has a lot of awesome benefits for our body and our mind. One of them is that it elevates your mood. Music can boost the brain's production of dopamine. So that's awesome. It reduces stress. Listening to music and drumming reduces stress. And also, when we're drumming tonight, I want you guys, we're obviously going to be nice to our instruments, and we're going to be nice to our bodies, and breathe and practice good technique. We're not going to be hurting the drum or hitting, but we're going to be getting some energy out, hopefully some energy that's stuck inside. We're going to be using this as a positive release, to get rid of that stress. It can relieve symptoms of depression, again, by making you happier. This says it stimulates memories. Music therapy has been shown to relieve some of the symptoms of Alzheimer's. It manages pain by reducing stress. This says it helps people eat less, really? Playing soft music in the background and dimming the lights during a meal can help people slow down while eating and ultimately consume less food. So this I pulled from is basically talking about music in general. But again, drumming's part of music, so that might be true for that too. Couple more here. It says drumming helps boost your immune system. Group drumming actually increases natural T cells, which help the body combat cancer as well as other viruses, including AIDS and possibly even COVID-19. Who knows? I'm sure there hasn't been enough studies on that. This drumming also creates a sense of connectedness. So like when you're in a drum circle or when you're playing a part of a band, or you know, you just feel like you're one with the band, hopefully. That's what we want, right? We don't want to be off in our own little world drum soloing all the time. No one wants that person in their band usually. You want to, it's a puzzle, it's a musical puzzle, and how does your puzzle piece fit into the music? You got to be thinking about that. You got to be listening. And this also says that drumming provides a way to access a higher power. And that's referring to like shamanistic drumming and, you know, basically like tribes would use this for their ceremonies. They would use it to communicate with big drums long distances, you know. For war, obviously, we've used drums for that. And so drumming's, I mean, it's everywhere. It's pretty important. And you can pretty much drum on anything. So I like that you all have, you guys all have like drums. When I was drumming with some of the kids with this drum class, we were using like, you know, buckets or floor toms or whatever. And that there's nothing really wrong with that either. Because if it sounds good to you and if it feels good and you like it and you're not hurting yourself and you're not hurting anyone else or the instrument, I mean, who's to tell you that that's not okay? I mean, some of the best recordings that we have actually, you know, if you look into how they were recorded or what instruments they use, you might be surprised on some of these percussion parts. They're using pots and pans sometimes, or, you know, the bicycle wheel or whatever. They're using whatever sound that comes to mind. So don't let this be limited to just drums, but it is important to have, like, since you guys do have, or you girls do have hand drums, then that's awesome, because we can talk about the different techniques to play this drum. So if everyone can get their drum in front of them, what you want to do with a djembe like this, mine, I think this is a 12-inch head, which is kind of big. Leslie, it looks like yours might be maybe a 10-inch head. I'm not sure, but that's a good size. What you want to do is like get it off the ground a little bit, because if you have it flat on the ground, it's going to mute the sound coming out of the bottom of it, and it's just not going to sound as good. So you can pick it up, put it in your lap, get it comfortable. I'm going to move the camera a little. You get it comfortable in your lap to where you can put your hands on here. And what you want to do in general is line up your last knuckles here with the rim of this drum, how it goes around. Okay, so you're not way up here, you're not way back here. Your hands are both like that. And when you play the djembe, for most of your strokes, you're going to be lifting up and hitting the drum and letting it bounce, okay? So try that on your drum. We're gonna line up our knuckles where I said, have your hands right here, and when you hit the drum, let it bounce, okay? Try with the left hand. Just, you're aiming, this is called an open tone, okay? And hopefully both of your hands sound the same. Now, once you get used to this, what you really want to do is hit the drum, let it bounce, but your hand's going to return to somewhere down here. So you're still letting it bounce. You're not cutting off the drum. Okay, that's a different way to play it. Still letting it bounce, but you don't have to have your hands floating way up in the sky. On drum set, I teach this to my students because most of the time you're playing like this and you got your sticks going. And I'll see a lot of kids when I'm saying, okay, just play with your right hand. Then their left hand's over here at their hip or on their side or just being lazy. What you want to be is in the ready position at all times. You don't want to be floating up here and in wherever. You want to be down here. So you're letting it bounce. I'm not even hitting the drum that hard, but this is loud, right? Drums are pretty loud. Even your small one, Yvonne, is probably making a good amount of noise when you do this. And you should hear the drum ring. Okay, look at the drum ring. Your hands are relaxed. Your hands will naturally kind of bend like this, right? When you relax them. So relax your hands. And you're basically hitting the drum with the padding of your hand. You want to be hitting the drum in general with the pattiest part of your hands, like the fat parts, I guess you could say, if you have fat on your fingers. Okay, you'll see guys who have played congas their whole life, like Tito Puente and Poncho Sanchez. Their hands are like, each finger looks like a hot dog. It's just like these like crazy wrinkly hands that have just, they're all taped up and bleeding. And it's like, luckily djembe is a little bit easier. We don't have to really, you shouldn't hurt yourself playing this instrument. Congas, on the other hand, I remember even doing it properly, bruising my fingers and then having to practice with bruised fingers and go, okay, hit it again, hit it again. Like, I don't want to play this anymore. So luckily, luckily djembe is nice and hopefully pretty forgiving for us. Okay, so that's like the open tone where we let it ring. It's very open. Let's try the bass tone, you guys. So for the bass tone, we're gonna have our hand move up a little. So instead of having that line with our knuckles, we're gonna move our hand up a bit to where like our palm, and this is gonna be a little bit hard for you, Yvonne, because your drum is small, but I think you can still do it. So your palm is at the very back, right? And then we're going to hit the drum almost completely flat down. And hopefully try it on your own. You're aiming for that low bass tone. It's different than this open tone, right? That wasn't very good. Hold on. Do you hear that? Boom. Try it. So you can try it with your right hand. Let it bounce still. You're hopefully listening for like a low tone. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so that's a second way we can get a sound out of the drum. It's very different than the open tone. So let's practice this. Let's go like this, you guys. Let's do bass, bass, and then pull back a little, open, open. So right, left, right, left. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, start with the right. So bass, bass, open, open. Again, bass, bass, nice and slow. This isn't about speed. Open, open, bass, bass. And listen to the different sounds, right? Hopefully you're getting that nice open sound on the open and a low tone on the other one. Okay? And you don't have to hit the drum that hard. Oops. Let's do one more time. Bass and open and open. Very cool. Does anyone have any questions so far? Feel free to, if you can, unmute yourself if you have a question and just please chime in. If not, we'll keep on keeping on. So yeah, so I got this djembe a couple weeks ago and I'm so glad I did. I think the guy spent like, it was like $250 new, and then the case was maybe $70. So he spent like $320 at Guitar Center on this. Played it once, and then sold it to me. I spent $160 on it. So, and then yeah, and my friends were, when I was playing it, they were like, "Oh my gosh, that djembe sounds so good." I mean, you sound good too playing it, but that drum sounds so good. And it's like, I have to agree. And so it's cool. Like when you get an instrument like this, I'm already using this in recordings. Actually, I already recorded with it in this reggae project I'm doing. You can use it in funk. You can use it in Latin music. You can use it like in all sorts of genres. So maybe you have all spent some money on your instrument like I have, or maybe you were handed this to you, or maybe, you got it used and it was really cheap. But either way, hopefully you have an instrument like this and it's very versatile. You'll be able to use it in any sort of situation. So I think it's a good investment, even if you're just playing drums for fun and you're not, you know, you're not taking it seriously like I am with recording and all that. You can just, you know, hey, have your drum in the back of the car when I'm going to the campfire or when you're going to the beach, and you can be that person who's ready to go with it. Okay, so let's talk about another type of stroke. So we talked about open, open, the bass tone, and then we have a slap, which is probably the harder one to do. So for a slap, instead of your hand coming down mostly flat at a parallel angle, you're going to pull back a little to where there's an angle of your hand up with your fingers a bit, and you pull back just a little bit more than you would. So you're going to go past your last knuckles here and pull back a little, and you've got that angle. And with the and make sure you're not hurting yourself, because you can hurt yourself on the rim of this drum if you hit it the wrong way. Okay, so when you hit the drum, your fingers are going to relax a little from the force of you hitting the drum, and they're going to hit the top of the head, and instead of letting the your hand bounce, you're going to try for a slapping sound. This is called the slap. And I'm not the best at this yet. I'm still working on it, but you can tell that I'm getting a nice mute out of there. You're still going to get a little bit of ring at the end of it, and that's okay. It's not going to be completely like, it'll still have a little bit of that djembe ring. So try that. Try alternating right and left. And it's not about speed. You're just listening to your own drum and trying to get that muted slap sound. Okay? Now this may seem boring, but now you have like 3 or 4 different, I think we just went over 3 different sounds. So you have 3 different sounds that you can play. That may not sound like a lot, but when you put these into different rhythms, then all of a sudden we have a lot we can do. So I'll show you one more, and then we'll jump over to like a YouTube play along, and we'll try that, and that'll be fun. So the last one is actually a little easier than the slap, and it's very similar. You're going to take your opposite hand that's not playing and rest it on the drum, and then that's so the head is muted, and then you do a slap. So this is like a muted hit. You can practice that, you know, with each hand. And it's a little different than this sound, right? So play with that. Put your hand on the drum, and for me it feels good with my whole hand on the drum, muting. So try that. That's where it sounds best to me. And then you can switch hands. Put your whole hand on the drum there. You do a slap, and don't let this hand bounce. Just let it be muted, and that's fine. Okay, but most of the time with djembe, we're playing up, and we're hitting up and doing these open tones. All right, so let's try just a practice groove. So what I want to try is we're going to try to get a bass tone on beat 1. We're going to play 1, and then we're going to come back and try to get 2 open tones left, right. So like 1, a 2, 3, a 4. So bass, open, open, bass, open, open. And then you can fill in the other notes. So you're basically playing this, right? But on beats 1 and beats 3, 1 and 2, and you can accent. I hope I'm not jumping ahead of you guys here, but I can tell that you're ready. So we're basically playing 16th notes. If you know what 16th notes are, we're counting 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and we're accenting. I guess we could accent, so hit the drum harder on beats 2 and 4, and those are open. And on beats 1 and 3, we have a bass tone. Okay, so the basic pattern, I'll start from the beginning again and just copy me as I'm talking. Just keep playing. Um, it'll be 1E and a 2, 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4. So 1, a 2, 3, a 4. Now I can fill in, you can fill in all the other notes. And a 2E and a 1E all right, does that make sense, you guys? Thumbs up if that was fun and cool. Okay, all right. If not, you can go thumbs down, that sucked. Okay, so that's kind of, you can also add a slap on beats 2 and 4, like if you want to make things a little more complicated and a little harder and maybe a little different sounding, you could try going for a slap on 2 and 4 instead of that open tone. So on 2 and 4, do that and mute it, and then on 1 and 3 with the bass drum. So let's just practice bass, the bass, and then slap, and then bass, oops, and then slap. 1 and 2 and 3 and you can just use one hand for now like I'm doing. Slap, bass, slap. In a second, we'll switch to the other hand. Bass and slap. Let's do 2 more. Bass, slap. 1 more. Bass, switch to the left. Oops. So now switch back to the other hand. Nice. You can fill in those 16th notes. And you can also try that muted one on maybe on 2 and 4. One, 2, 3, 4. Most music is in 4/4. That's the time signature, and that just means we're counting to 4. And 3 and 4. Sometimes we go to 5 and 6 and 7. But typically 4 or even 3. Cool. I can tell you guys, even though I can't hear you, I can see that it sounds good. So that's what counts. Yeah. All right, let's do a YouTube play along. So I'm going to attempt to share the screen here. Uh-oh. Host disabled participant screen sharing. Okay, well, that's okay. Maybe in a second we will. Yeah.
Hold on, I'm looking.
You're looking? Okay. I'm gonna like I said, I play hand drums, but I'm gonna direct us to a couple videos here that are gonna help us. You know, these guys are maybe more qualified than I am, so I'm just gonna let a couple of these videos. One of them, he's just gonna talk for a second, and we're gonna do a basic pattern. And then the other ones are just play alongs where we can groove along to a like hip hop track, or I think I have a bossa nova and a hip hop and a Afro Cuban.
Nice.
Cool. Am I
should be good.
Am I good? Okay.
You may share.
All right, I will share. Let's see if I'm ready here. Yeah, there we go. Oh, technology. That's one of the things I do like about these Zoom meetings is the screen sharing is pretty cool, and the fact that you can record is pretty cool. And also, when I have drum students, I can just mute them. And I can't mute them in real life, you know, it's hard to do that. You get in trouble if you get the duct tape out. So with the online meetings, it's nice. I'm just like, oh, they're drumming and doing whatever. Mute, I'm gonna talk for a second. All right. Can you all hear that?
Gives proof of some fundamental differences between the tone and the slap. You play the tone with a large portion of your hands. You play the slap with only your fingertips.
So I should have mentioned that. Slap is more with your fingertips, and he's going to call the tone what I called open. So open and tone, interchangeable.
After playing the tone, the hand stays on the membrane for micro time. After the slap, it bounces off immediately.
Oh, you know what? He's actually, I don't know if I should show you this. This guy's got a different, I watched this, but he's got a different vocabulary for this. He's calling the slap like an open one, and on a different video I saw, they were having the slap as a muted tone. Okay, so I'm not showing this to confuse you guys. I thought he was on the same page here. So, but I do want to show you this, what he does with the slap. So check this out real quick.
With the slap, it's angled away from the brain.
So that's the tone.
With the slap, it's angled away from the membrane.
With the slap, he angles
by roughly an inch. When you strike the rim, the force of inertia slaps your fingertips against the membrane. Like a whip. That's right. The tone, the slap. The tone, the slap. The tone, the slap. The tone, the slap. Now let's try this traditional djembe pattern. Ka, 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 tu, tu, ka, 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 tu, tu, ka, 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 tu, tu, ka.
Okay, and we're not going to do it that fast. So what he's playing, and I've never seen those markings before, but I guess that's djembe markings, and it kind of makes sense. So the crosses mean that it's a slap. I'm sorry, the crosses mean that it's, hold on. Does that mean slap or open? Hold on. So he's going tone, tone, or open, 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 slap, slap. Right, left, right, left, right. Can you all do that? Right, left, right, and we pull back for the last two. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, let's listen to him play a little bit, and hopefully you guys can drum along. I think I have it on normal speed here, so hopefully it's not too fast. I'm gonna back it up just a minute. We're gonna try to drum along with him, but I'm not gonna play. And then he does it twice as fast. Cool. So I just wanted to show you that. Hopefully that wasn't more confusing. Anyways, let's do a play along on Bossa Nova. So on this one, what we can do is kind of what we talked about before this video, which is having like a bass note on beat 1. And then you can pull back for an open tone or a slap on beat 2 and fill in the other notes. So let's just take a listen to this track. It already has some bongos in there, but we can play, well, let's count it first. So they're counting 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, so it's slow. And the subdivision of this would be eighth notes. So right now they're just counting quarter notes, but if you counted twice as fast, you'd have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's basically what your hands are playing. And 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then you can just add a bass note on beat 1, 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 3 and. Can we go twice that fast though? Yeah, let's try it. So we're playing eighth notes, 3 and 1 and 2 and 16th notes would be twice as fast. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, yeah. So if you can put your hands this fast, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Let's try that. Just open tones. Now try bass and bass. 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 So that's a simple way to play. You all look great. You can just put that bass note on beat 1, and that will give everyone kind of this marker for like, oh, hey, that's the downbeat. That's the beginning. Boom, tap, boom, tap, right? And then we're just moving our hands at the speed of whatever subdivision usually the music is at. So in this case, the subdivision would be, I guess, 16th notes. You've got this. So we want to be playing that. Let's try some more. So I'll go back to the beginning here. I think there's a 1 measure count off, so it just gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, or 4, 3, 2, 1, and it's in. So we'll try that. So when it's in the count off, you can already be thinking, hopefully, the subdivision of what we're playing. So it's going to go just quarter notes, but you got to be thinking da, 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 da. And if that doesn't happen for you yet, that's okay. Just listen to the music, and we should be able to lock in with the percussion. So let's try it. Yeah, it's a short count off. So we can start getting our hands going. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. And now try it with the bass on 1. 1 and a 2 E and a 3. 1 and 3. You can sort of play around with the accent pattern or how hard you hit each hand. You know, you don't have to have it be so even. Part of drumming is just grooving along and feeling that beat and doing what sounds best to you. So let's play like another 30 seconds of this one or so. And then I'm going to get another one ready here. 3, 4, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3. I love it. And we're just, you know, the percussion is just background music, really. It's background instruments. It's not the main thing going on. Right? There's some beautiful guitar work going on there. There's some beautiful, that's basically the main instrument, the main solo instrument. So if you're not the main instrument, if this is not a drum solo, then guess what? You're just providing that nice, even rhythm flow for whoever's soloing. And they will love you if you just play in time and just keep your volume at a medium level and just groove along and don't do too much. That's the goal. We're not doing a drum solo every time. Now there are times for that, and the djembe is really good for that too. It's a great instrument to solo on. You know, you can do whatever rhythms you want on this thing and sort of go outside the box. And that can be fun too, but know when your moment is to shine and when your moment is to shut up. All right, let's try another one. Ah, the Zoom thing's in my way. Okay, there we go. Hip hop. Let's try this one. All right, so this one's drumless too. Hopefully you can hear this. I hope it's loud enough. So first we have to feel the pulse of the music. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, right? That's the pulse. And they're gonna be playing 16th notes. Basically 16th notes again. 2 and a 3 and a 4. Hopefully that's not too fast. Da, 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 da. Let's try that. If you can't do that, we'll go half as fast. Let's try just 8th notes. We'll try half as fast. Okay, ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. There we go. So again, you can put that bass note on beat 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can accent beats 2 and 4 with your hand as you pull them back. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3. Let's try twice as fast. 1, 2, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. Yeah. So you should be lining up with that guitar. If you can hear it, chicka 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 chicka. 1 and a 2. You can try that. I'm just muting it on 2 and 4. 4. With my other hand, I'm trying that mute technique. 3, 4, 1, 2. So my right hand is doing most of the work because I'm right-handed. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully that was fun. I had fun. There's plenty of these online, you guys. So you can do this. Just type in YouTube and go there and find a genre. Like there's all sorts of cool music that you can drum along to. And there's also sorts of there's actually more so djembe play along stuff where they're playing a djembe and teaching how to play, which is really useful, than there is play along tracks. But the play along tracks are good too. Especially if you're alone and you want to jam and you don't have anyone over or whatever, you can just drum online now. I mean, put some headphones on and that's how you can practice, and that's how you can get more comfortable before you have before people go, hey, you want to play in my drum circle, or hey, I'm having a thing, and you're like, oh, I don't know. Well, if you've done some practicing at home and you've played along with a couple YouTube videos, you'll hopefully you'll be like, yeah, I got this. Don't worry, we're cool. I got this. Okay, so now we're gonna try a different feeling of music. So this is Afro-Cuban music. I'm just gonna hit play. We're gonna count this in 6/8. So we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's a quarter note pulse right there. It almost feels like 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, because there's this stomping going on with the hi-hat. But we're actually counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Can you guys feel that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it's kind of got this sick top. So we're gonna try to play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just alternating your hands, open strokes. 2, 3, 4. And just try to play in time. Even though the beat's here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, Let's try this pattern. 1, 2, 3, da 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 da. Copy me. Right, left, right, da 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 da. And I'm alternating. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. It's based off of that. This is actually pretty advanced. We're basically playing triplets here. Triplet. Back to that rhythm. Yeah, just copy me. And we have 4 beats in the middle. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Right? Cool. So that's more of a complicated one, but djembes are great for this Afro-Cuban, Latin music. It'll fit right in with that. So the more you practice to those two, the better you'll sound. All right, let's see. I think I had one more video here. Yeah, let's try this one. This is just a djembe groove. And I'm gonna try to slow it down actually. Hold on, we're gonna slow this down. Half the speed. Might sound a little funny. So we're gonna try to copy this pattern. He's basically playing right, left, right, left, right, left, right. So, or if you start with your left, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. We're just alternating, and that's the pattern. You can do open strokes for now. We're just trying to get the rhythm down, okay? Good job. I'm gonna bump up the speed a little bit. Here we go. I'm gonna go 0.75. There we go. Now we can feel more of a groove going on, right? This is 16 notes. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1. You can try the bass note on the beat 1 again if you want to. Pull back for the other notes. Keep going. I'm gonna bump up the speed again. Because now we can do it at full speed. Here we go. Ooh. 2, 3, try it. So your hands are moving 16 notes. Nice. The pulse is here. 1, 2. Make it groove now. We know the pattern. Now have fun with it and make a groove. Okay, I want to bump up the speed again. Let's see if we can go even faster. This one's just for fun. So this is 1.25. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. Good job, girls. I'm almost sweating in here, but it's like it's warm in my house. But I feel like this drumming is a good workout too. It's another benefit to drumming. And also when you're drumming and you're like, I don't know, for me, like I'm holding my djembe in my lap, so I can use my feet on the ground, but I can't really lift my legs like I normally might with a drum set. So, but what I'm trying to say is like with your feet, you can be moving your feet and keeping time like this while your hands are going, and you're basically what's called marking time, which is what they do in marching band. You stand there in place and you play your exercise, and it internalizes that rhythm and that pulse, and it keeps you in time with your own body. Right, left, right, left. Right, and then you're sort of got your whole body going, and that's another way to play that will help yourself and probably the other musicians, if you have any around you. They're going to lock into that and be, oh man, that's the groove right there. That's the beat, and there's no question about it, right? Then that's the point with drums and percussion. Really, is you're keeping time and you're making this very smooth and confident groove going on in the background, and it's just helping everyone else really. So another thing, like we've talked about these patterns, when you guys play or when you're practicing, try to first practice, we did those 4 different sounds. We got open, slap, bass, and then the muted, right? So practice those. But when you get a groove going, maybe you make one up, maybe you're feeling it to the music, or you put on a YouTube video, try to keep a consistent pattern of whatever you do. And try to make it very consistent. So where if you were recording yourself, and you should, maybe even just a voice memo on your phone, right? And you listen back, it should sound like, okay, all my slap tones are slaps, and all my bass tones are very bassy, and the groove has this evenness and this nice pattern along with the rhythm too. Hopefully you're not messing up and playing different rhythms. Hopefully you're keeping it in this nice rhythmic flow. Okay. The other thing you can do is you can practice doing little what's called a fill. So a fill is kind of it's basically whatever you want to play is what a fill is, and it transitions from one part of the song to the other part. Is that you? Oh, hey, sorry. So when you do a fill, you can play whatever you want. So I'll give you an example. Let's play that groove that we were doing basically on the last one, like boom, boom, boom. Let's get this going. So copy me and play along, right? And we're just playing along, but I'm counting in my head. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Now let's start the phrase here. We're gonna do a 4-bar phrase. 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. This third measure. 2, 3. Here's the fourth measure. 1. Now I do a fill. 1. Back to the beginning. 4, 2, 2, 3. So I want you to try a fill on this fourth measure, you guys. 3, 4, 1. Play what you want. Play what you want. Here's measure 2. So now we've created this phrase. 3, 2. Here we get to play. 1. Right? 3, 4, 2. 3, 4, 3. Here comes the fill. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay? So have fun with that and pull back on the drum maybe, play some different rhythms, get creative and try to keep it in time, and that will transition your musical phrase. It might go from a verse to a chorus at that point, or it might come back from a chorus to a verse, or maybe it signals for the guitar player to do a solo for a minute, and then you go back to just playing your groove. It can be anything, but it also can just mark the phrasing of a song. So, and even in a drum circle jam, you're going to want some sort of structure, hopefully. So That's why we're practicing counting here today, and that's why I went over eighth notes and 16th notes. I touched on that. And now I'm touching on musical phrases because that's what this is. We need to make this musical. So when you practice, practice in 4-bar phrases or 8-bar phrases, usually. Okay. And what I mean by that is you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. Now I do a fill. Okay, or go all the way up to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, fill back to the beginning of a phrase. And that way, you're not just making noise on a drum. All of a sudden, you've got 4 different tones. You've got these phrases you can make. You've got fills you can do. Okay, and all of a sudden, hopefully, you've got some power to play in these drum circles and stuff. Okay, music is pretty much just based on counting to either 3 or 4. With most of the stuff we did today, we were just counting to 4, and that's easy. A lot of stuff too, though, it'll be like a waltz. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and that's a different feel. And you can still just play along to the pulse. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1. I'm playing 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. That's simple, right? 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2. But it sounds cool. 1, 2. And I'm accenting the downbeat. 1, 2. You can play to 6 too. 6 is a common one. We count to 3. We count to 4. We also count to 6. It's just a longer phrase of 3, basically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. Try that with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm just alternating. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, left, right, 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 left. It should have a swooping, sort of dancing feeling, and that's another feel of music. Okay, if we go into 7/8, if we go into 9/8, these different time signatures, you don't have to freak out because 7 is just 2 and 2 and 3, right? You can do it in different ways. You can go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, or you can do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. There's different ways that you can play these time signatures. But that's advanced. That's like this is beginning drumming for adults. Maybe in a future date we'll offer super advanced drumming for everyone. And we can talk about those things, or you can explore them on your own. But I just wanted to like touch the surface on that and let you guys know that, okay, there is more to this, and you really can go pretty advanced if you want to go advanced, or you can just keep it simple and keep it to these simple rhythms, and that's totally fine too. And you should be able to play in almost any situation you get yourself into, hopefully just after this class. But if you don't feel that confident yet, then I would say go to a couple more YouTube videos, practice along, play along to some of your favorite music. Just put in a half hour or an hour, and you'll be surprised at how much that half hour, an hour makes. Even if you're just trying to do it for yourself, even if there's no drum circle in your future and you don't want to do that, and you just want to be alone in your room and play a little bit and release some stress or get that dopamine from the music or whatever, then that's fine too. So hopefully you guys, hopefully that was helpful. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
I do.
Or please?
I was just wondering, are you teaching next Wednesday as well?
I will if they want me to.
When's
Yeah.
your next class, I guess, is a better question.
Yeah, I think I could do Wednesday probably. But at least, I mean, Annalisa hasn't mentioned it yet, so I don't know.
Okay, because Lisa Ann had me on the schedule to host for several Wednesdays in a row through June, so I just wanted to be sure everybody knew if you were going to be on for next Wednesday and the following. So We can put
Let-
something out if you want.
Yeah, let's plan for it. If anyone wants to join me next week, we'll try for Wednesday at 7 if that works for people. I think it's kind of nice after, like for me, it's after dinner, you know, it's not like during work or during dinner. So hopefully most people can make that time.
Yeah. Leslie, did you have a
Leslie.
question?
Yeah, I was just wondering what YouTube tutorials do you recommend if we want to get into some patterns? Because what I'm finding is that I feel like if I don't have a pattern that I can do in a really rudimentary way, like the patterns you gave us,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm going to want to stick with those patterns just to kind of get some fundamentals down. Do you recommend any particular YouTube for fundamentals?
Yeah, there's this one guy here that he has a couple different patterns. I'll send you the link. I'm wondering what the
Can
best
you
way.
copy and paste it and put it in the chat?
Chat.
Is that the best way, you think? Yeah.
Yeah, you can copy and paste them right now and put them in the chat and people can save
Okay.
their chat.
Oh yeah, you can save the chat, right? I
How
don't
do
know.
you save the
Yeah.
chat?
Okay.
How do you save the chat? Because every time I do that, like close the meeting, it just goes away forever.
So if you go down to the bottom, if you open your chat, open chat here, go down to file, down at the bottom, and
Mhm.
then there's a little square that has the 3 dots in it. If you click on that, where was that? This one does not say it. But when I was a participant, it said save chat. I'm the host right now, so it says can chat. Does yours say it? Mine doesn't have that option right now because I think it automatically saves as the host.
Uh-huh.
Does anyone see it?
I think when you record it too, like it'll ask you if you want to save the chat when you end it, or it just automatically saves it, I think, when you record it.
Yeah, we automatically save it and the host gets a file, but as a participant, I saved a chat from another video the other day. So
Okay.
Yvonne or Leslie, Becky, can you guys see down at the bottom the 3 dots? Does it say anything when you click on it?
I don't have the 3 dots. I don't
I
think.
see I see the file part.
Mine doesn't have the 3 dots. It
Mhm.
only has the file, but it takes
Yeah.
you to your documents and doesn't
Yeah.
save it. I'm just
Really?
going to photograph. I'm going to take a picture of the.
Oh.
Well, that means I'm getting you guys too. Hold on here. Let me
Smile then. No.
go over. I'm just going to hone in on just the chat. I won't take a
Or
picture.
you can screenshot, yeah.
I got one more link coming.
There we go. I just did it that way. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I
You
know
can
that
send them out too.
when I've done this before, you can save
Hmm.
the chat. This is not giving the option.
I know they just did an update too, so I don't know if that changed.
Okay. That's cool though. That was really fun.
Yay, thank you. I'm glad you had fun. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you guys learned something and we got something out of it.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you
wanna
for
get
setting this up.
Rob,
Welcome. Thank you.
I want to upgrade.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll see you
Bye.
guys later, okay?
Take
Have a good
care.
night.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hopefully we'll see you next week. Good night.